This has to be one of the saddest stories in Nigerian history, but it's also so interesting that I have to speak about it. This happened in the 1990s, so there's a few things to keep in mind. The first thing is that Nigeria was the 5th biggest supplier of oil to the United States. The second thing is that back in the 90s, there was an oil company which currently runs Nigeria, and they're called Shell. Back then, a lot of Nigerians were protesting against Shell, which the company obviously didn't like. And during that time, Shell used the Nigerian military to carry out a number of high-profile murders. With that being said, this story is about Kudira Abiola and MKO Abiola, which for this video, I'm going to refer to as Mr. and Mrs. Abiola. So in 1993, Mr. Abiola won the election to become president of Nigeria. Just for context, when he was younger, Mr. Abiola graduated from the Uni of Glasgow with a degree in accounting. He then became a successful businessman, and in the 90s, his net worth was estimated to be at over $1 billion. This guy literally had no reason to be corrupt, which is why when he won the elections, the military government, run by you-know-who, they cancelled the whole elections. And then they threw him into prison. And they basically told him, yeah, like, we know you won the elections fair and square, and we know that the people of Nigeria want you to be their president, but the only way we're ever going to release you from prison is for you to take back your claim to be president. But Mr. Abiola just said, no, I'm not doing that. So because he just kept saying no, this man remained in prison for years. And this is where things get super sad. Because this whole time, whilst he was in prison, Mrs. Abiola was fighting for his release. And the people of Nigeria were with her. Just to give you a picture of how much these two people were loved and respected by the people of Nigeria. These two people are Yoruba, but I'm Igbo. This case was deeper than anything Europeans could do to put Africans against each other. So what happened next broke the hearts of so many people. In June 1996, Mrs. Abiola was being driven in her car when she was ambushed and shot at with machine guns by 6 gunmen. But wait, because it gets even more sad. Mr. and Mrs. Abiola had a daughter called Hafsa Abiola who was living in the US. Hafsa Abiola was studying at Harvard, and she was literally just about to graduate with a degree in development economics. And would you believe it? On that day, when her mother was killed, she was literally about to fly out from Nigeria to the US to see her graduate. So Hafsa Abiola graduated from Harvard in June 1996 when her mother literally just got killed and her father was still being held in prison. But wait, because it gets even more sad. Fast forward to July 7th, 1998, and Mr. Abiola was about to be released from prison that day. Before he was due to be released that day, he received a visit from a representative of the United States government. Her name was Susan Rice. This meeting was part of America's idea of helping Nigeria transition back to democracy. Anyways, long story short, during the meeting, Susan Rice served MKO Abiola, or Mr. Abiola, a cup of tea. After this, Mr. Abiola started coughing uncontrollably and he was forced to be taken to the hospital. And he also ended up dying. Mrs. Abiola spent years trying to campaign for her husband to be released from prison, and in the end, he never even made it out.